Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back. This is the fifth class, and after the endpoints, which we had last time, we are trying to discuss the backend, how the backend works, and how we want to construct our backend and stuff like that. So, when we talk about backend, we can mention more technologies we have. So we are the ones, programmers, who can decide which technology we want to use. Of course, we can decide it, but also if we have a project, our client can tell us what technology to use. So I would just mention one of the most or some of the most common technologies used for backend. This is like C Sharp. It's a Microsoft programming language and C++ and C sharp, right? So we have C++ and C sharp, but we can also build backend with PHP programming language. And the JS stands for JavaScript. We have to know that earlier it was not used for backend, but JavaScript was used for front end, But since the Node.js runtime environment exists, JavaScript is also used for backend programming. So we can use the Node.js in that case. And finally, I would talk about the Java. Of course, there are more programming languages used for backend, but these are only the most important ones. And we will point out Java because in this course we are going to use Java for our backend. So let me highlight Java as our backend. Okay, so that's the one we are going to use here in this course. And when we talk about Java, I have to tell you that there are different types, like Java Standard Edition. So SE stands for Standard Edition. That's the basic Java, right? And then we have the Java Enterprise Edition. So that's called Java EE. It's more than the basics. So it's like, I'll just give you an example. For example, if somebody wants to build the front end part with Java technology, then you have to use the Java EE because the front end that belongs to Java EE, like when you create JSP files like Java server page or Java server face, so JSF files. So that's another technology. It's not the one we are going to use here for front-end development. Well, you'll see it later. And there's one more I have never used. That's the Java Micro Edition. It's usually used for actually mobile applications or to develop mobile applications, but that's not used significantly. So the Java Standard Edition and Enterprise Edition is much more common than the Java Micro Edition. So, okay, so we know the three different types, but if you go to an interview, many times you get a question, did you use Java? You say, yes, I did. And then the interviewer can ask you, okay, what version did you use? So you have to very clear to say what version of Java you used before. So when we go in google.com, sorry, I just, will close the tabs I don't need anymore. So I can open google.com and we can type in Java SE versions. And then you will see the results. Just 1 second, it's a little slow. And then here's the Java version history. And you click on it. Then you can see the different Java versions and also the year when they appeared in the market. So today is the 4th of April 2020. So let's see, the latest edition today is this one. So it's Java Standard Edition 14. Okay, so we have altogether now 14 different versions from Java. What do these versions mean? Basically, they mean when they release a new version, but actually they pack new functions, new methods, new APIs into the new version. So you have to learn that, of course. So when somebody wants to switch from version 14 to version 15, you have to know what exactly was put into the version 15, what's new there, right? Okay, so we can see the same regarding the Java Enterprise Edition. So when we type in Java EE versions, then we can see that in Java Enterprise Edition, we have altogether 8 different versions. So we have 8 versions, and the last one today is the Java EE8. So if someone asks you, did you work with Java EE? You can say, yes, I did. What version did you use last time? And you can say Java EE5. But probably the project, they want to give you, it's in Java EE8. So you have to learn the 6, 7, 8 new things. So which were new in those versions, so that you can do programming in the Java EE8 version. So don't forget, here we have 8 versions, and regarding the standard edition, we have altogether 14 versions. Okay, that's regarding the Java in general. Let's get back to the picture, and let's see the next step. So we know we are going to use Java, and now we know the different types in Java what we have, right? So when we want to write a code, what's the next step? So a code can be written in different ways. You can use just a notepad and create a code manually, but that's not that common. So the most common thing is that the programmer or the developer takes an IDE, which stands for Integrated Development Environment. So that is a kind of software you can write code in, and it gives you a lot of help, because you can save a lot of time by using that. So why do you save a lot of time? Because there are predefined templates in that, and you will see for yourself it's much easier to use, as if you had to write code in Notepad from scratch. So what types of IDEs exist? So one of the most common is the Visual Studio. It's a Microsoft product, but there are some more, the well-known ones, the NetBeans or the IntelliJ. That's one of the best I have ever seen. So I've used it myself in Switzerland when I worked in Switzerland last year for 5 months. And there's Eclipse. We're going to use Eclipse in this course, so I will just circle it. We will use that one here in this course. Okay, so we are going to use Java and Eclipse, and the next question is, what does it look like, right? So I will open Eclipse. So you have to download it from the internet. It doesn't matter which type. So I have, look at that. I have this one, but I will just close it and you will see for yourself. So I will exit this, and I type in here in the search bar Eclipse, and I have the Eclipse G Photon, right? So that's one version, but there are a lot of other versions, so it doesn't matter which one you use. So I'll click on it. What's happening next? So actually it will open up, and then it will tell me which folder is offering to me, so that I can put all the files I create in it. So let's get there and let's see. You see, that's the main panel which pops up, and then you can see a folder, a path and a folder. This means that whatever we create in this Eclipse, all the files will be put into this folder. So what I'm gonna do is actually I'll remove this folder because I don't need it anymore. So, and I will create in this path a new folder so that Eclipse can put all my files in that. So what we can do is I'll go to the Windows Explorer and then click on the documents, and here I'll create a new folder. Let's call it like a sample project. So it's created, and then I will write here sample project, right? Okay, and I click on launch, and Eclipse will open up, and now we'll see how to create a new Java project, right? Just a second. Yes, that's what it looks like. And then you can close this welcome tab. And here's the project explorer. Of course, it's empty because we still didn't create anything in it. But the first step we need to do is that we create a brand new Java project, right? How to do that? So actually, I'll go on the File menu and click on it, and I can see new, right? Here I have a lot of different options to choose from, right? We have different types of projects. Even if it's Java, inside Java you can choose, many projects. It can be a Maven project, it can be an enterprise application project, dynamic web project, an EJB project, connector project. So you have to decide as a software developer what Java project you want to create, right? And once you decided that, you will click on it. Now, let's see a Maven project. That's a common project. I'll click on it, and it will take some questions to me. I have to answer these questions, like create a simple project, script archetype selection. I will not take it now, so I'll click on next. And here are the different archetypes in Maven project, right? What I want to choose. I will choose the quick start now. So I'll click on next. And I need to give a group ID. Group ID is actually a package ID. So we'll talk about packages later and classes. So I have to give a package ID. I will call it com.unifact. That's my package ID, and the artifact ID is actually my project name. So let's call it sample Java project. Yeah. And you see the package here. Here's the package name, which is com.unifact. And after the package, we can put the project name. And then I click on finish, right? So once I click on finish, on the left-hand side above, I can see that the project was created. So Eclipse has created this project, right? I click on the arrow, and I can see, the whole project structure, what it looks like. This is the whole project structure. So I want to click on these different arrows, and I'll explain what these are, because we have created, many files here. So that's one Java project. We didn't do it manually, but Eclipse has created that for us, right? So that's important to understand. We didn't have to do it manually. And I will click on these arrows, and then you will see what was created and what not. So let's do with test here below. And I just open up everything, every folder. So, and here's the target, right? Let me explain a little bit this structure, right? This is very important for us. That's the app.java. We have to know when we write a software code, we put the code in the .java files. So the .java file is actually the source code. We put the source code there. Eclipse has created an app test file, a test.java file. We put all the unit tests or integration tests in these Java files. So, parallel Java, there is another Java file which has been created for the test files if you want to write different tests, right? Let's see what's in it. So when I click on it, I can see there's some Java codes, the package name, this one, and also the you know, the class name here. I mean the project name, sorry. So that's whole stuff is actually the package name, because the project name was added to the group ID. So that's the whole package name here. And what's the next one? So actually here in Java we create different classes, and that's the name of the class. And here I will create the main function. This is a function from here to here, and that's the signature of the function here. Actually, this is called main because a main is a function from which we can start up the application. So that's very important. What we write, the main is the most important function because that's the one we are starting the application from. And this is a Java command. We'll use this command just to put the hello world script onto the console. So you'll see the script on the console if it's running well. So and then here we can see a Java test file. We can put some new code in that, but as I said, this is only for testing. So if we want to test the new function we have created, we can put all the tests here, and then we can test it, right? And then some jar files put here. So Eclipse put some jar files in this folder. And then we have the Maven dependencies. We will not talk about this here in this course because it's not that important right now. And then you can see the Java file again, I've already shown you. And also the Java test file, right? And here's a target folder. It's very important because in Maven projects, if the Java files get compiled, the compiled files will be put in the target folder. And that is the most important, actually, is pom.xml in the Maven project, because you put all the dependencies and different other stuffs in this POM file. But as I said, Maven is not part of this course. I will not talk about this. However, I would highlight this target folder because I told you you have to compile the Java files. What does that mean, to compile the Java files? That means when you see the Java files, these are only the source code. This includes only the source code, so it will not run. So in order for you to be able to run this code you are writing, you have to compile the project, and then let's see how it works. So when you create the Java files like here in the project, then you have to compile that with the help of a compiler. There's a built-in compiler in Eclipse. I will show you how. And then that compiler will actually compile the Java files into the class file, right? As the next step. So a class file includes bytecode. This is what's running. So the Java file is not running. It's only the source code. What's running is the class file. But you have to create it, right? And when you want to have a bundle of class files, then a jar file will be created. You have already seen that here in the Eclipse, that there are a lot of jar files. These are bundle files. And finally, if you want to deploy what you have created onto a server, so you want to place your work onto a server, you need to create a WAR file. And so that includes a WAR file, can include the class and jar files, and basically you have to put it on your server, you have to deploy it. That's how it's running. Or if it's Enterprise Edition, you could create the EAR files. So that's what you have to put on the application server, right? So and then it's running there. But here in our course, we will not use a remote server, but we will use our own machine. So that's going to be the server, and we'll place these files there, right? So let me explain how the compilation works, because if we check the folder we have created at the beginning, remember when we started up Eclipse, we have to give a folder. So I gave here a new folder in Documents. I think I called it Sample Java. Let me check. a sample project, yeah, sample project. So let's check out what's here. So in the target folder, there are classes, right? In classes, and if you check the, you see here in the target folder, you can find the app.class file, and basically that's already a bytecode because it was compiled. How was that compiled? Why was that compiled? Actually, if we get back here and we check the project, and you see the build automatically has been highlighted here or ticked, and basically that calls this that the Java files were compiled. But if I switch this off, actually I have to do it manually. Either I click on build all or build project, and then a build will be created. A build means that the Java file will be compiled to class files, and that's why you can see the class files there. So don't forget, if you want to check, you can go into your folder, and then you have to check the target. But that's only in case of Maven project, right? But what if we create another project, right? Let's check that. Because I created this Maven project, it's called Sample Java, and I showed you what the structure looks like. Let's see another one. So I close this, and then I click on File, New, and I would say use the simple project. And here we just, you know, choose the Java project, right? And I give a project name. It can be sample Java 1, right? That's a new project. I can choose which version of Java runtime environment I would choose. And I can have more options. I have the 8, so I would choose the 8, right? And then I can click next. And then finally I can click finish. And okay, so let's see that. And the sample Java 1 is here. So if I check the structure, you can see it's completely different than with the other Java, the sample Java, because it's not a Maven project. It's just a simple Java project, right? So there's only one library here with a lot of jar files and the source folder, but it's empty because it's just a simple Java project. So I want to put, however, a class here. So what I do is I'll highlight it and then right click and click on new, and I would choose a class, right? And basically I can give a name. It can be sample main, let's say. And we won't talk about access modifiers in this course. That's basic Java. You can just search for it on Google what it means. Actually, it means public. All the classes can access. That means if a class is public, all the classes can access to this class or to the variables of class or functions of this class. So probably in the future I'll create a basic Java course and then I'll explain that, but not now. Okay, and then I'll take this public static void main, the main function, so it will include that, and click on finish. And actually you can see that, you know, this had been created. So actually a public static void main, the main function had been created with the sample main class, right? So if I want here a Java instruction or actually a command, I can put here system out, let's click this away, system out print line, and I can put a message there so that the user can see that. Hello, how are you doing, right? Okay, that's what I'm expecting to write onto the console, and basically that's it. So, and I can save that, and let's see how it's running. So when I save it, what's happening? So I check my folder again here in the sample Java, and you see here is the new project, the sample Java 1, and actually here we have the source folder includes the Java file, the sample main Java, what we have here. But since we have this project build automatically activated, then we have also the class file, which is the compiled file, the sample main.class. This is the bytecode I have explained here. Don't forget. So the first step is the Java source file. After compilation, you get the class file, which is running file. But I forgot to tell you one thing. So if we get these class files, they should run on our machine. Yes, they should. But to achieve that, we need one thing on our machine, and that is the Java virtual machine. So you have to have the Java virtual machine on your computer, right? If you don't have that, you can't expect, a Java file or a class file should be running on your computer. So it will not, because you don't have the Java virtual machine. So how can you get that? Actually, you have to install the Java runtime environment. So it's called Java runtime environment. Or you have to install the Java development kit onto your machine. Why do you need that? Because if you have either the Java runtime environment or the Java development kit, then you get the Java virtual machine. So they include the Java virtual machine. And if you have the Java virtual machine, actually you can run any Java files, right? The class files on your computer. So that's very important. How can you check if it exists on your machine? If you go into the command line and you type in Java-version, you click enter. Actually, you see the Java version you have on your computer. I have the 1.8, so that's version 8 on my computer. Another method is actually you get on the Windows Explorer, and you go on C on the root folder, and you search for program files, and in program files you have to look for Java. You see that, and when you click on Java, you can see the JDK I have, the different versions, and I have also JRE. You don't have to have both. Either you have the Java runtime environment, but in that case you cannot develop anything. You can just run different Java programs, or you have the Java development kit, and you can also develop. I have both, but you don't need actually. So if you have the JDK, it also includes the JRE, but the JRE doesn't include the JDK. So that's very important to understand. That's the Java virtual machine, and the Java class files, the bytecode we run on the Java virtual machine. So that's what we understood. Okay, let's get back to Eclipse and let's run this. Okay, how can we run from Eclipse what we write? So the way you can run it, here above you can see a different small icon called run sample main Java, right? You click on it, and I want to see here below, here's the console. The console shows me this message, hello, how are you doing, right? So that means the code we have put here, it's working fine, because the command which is here actually writes the message onto the console. Let's see this in the other application, the Maven application, right? So I'll get there, and let me check again. So in here in the source file, let me check again here in the Java app. Hello world, yeah, so the message should be different here. It's not hello, how are you doing, but hello world. Let's run it also. And you see, so here you can see the hello world, so it's running well as well. So that means both projects we have created, the Maven project and the simple Java project, can run the code in it very well. We can see the message here, right? That's what I wanted to explain to you to understand how we use this IDE, so the Eclipse IDE, how we create a project, how we can create different types of projects, and basically what's going on in the folder here, in the folder structure. Right. Okay, there is maybe one more thing I want to add to this, right? So we discussed the Java versions and we discussed the Java project. We have to create it and it has more types. And we didn't talk about frameworks and the Java build tools. So basically in this course, we will use a framework, and this framework is called Spring Boot, right? So I will circle this around. So we'll use Java and the Eclipse and the Spring Boot framework. Well, there's Spring framework, Swing framework, and there are much more frameworks. The list is not complete. These are just well-known ones. Well, basically, what are these frameworks? Why do we use these frameworks? The frameworks help the programmer because they include a lot of functions, different Java files, like different files like you saw here, the jar files. It includes different jar files which have functions, built-in functions you can use in your program. And the frameworks are just to make our life much easier. That's why we are going to use Spring Boot here, and you'll see how easy it is to build up the backend with the help of Spring Boot. Okay, so we just discussed these frameworks, and the last subject we have here, the Java build tools. Actually, there are different types of build tools like Maven, Gradle, or Ant, and you can use these build tools so that when you create the build, you create the bytecode files with the help of these build tools, and actually they can also package your project as well, your Java project, and deploy the project. So we can use, for instance, Maven to do that. We will not, but actually you can do that if you want. Right. So why could I create a Maven project here? Because there's an option here in Eclipse. If you click on the help menu and there is an Eclipse marketplace, you can add different plugins to your IDE. So if you type in here, for instance, Maven, then you will see what kind of Maven plugins you can add to your Eclipse. Here you type in like Maven, and you click on Go, and then you can see actually the list of the Maven plugins. You can install that. This is already installed. That's how you can add any plugin to your IDE, and you can use it there. Okay, thank you guys for your attention today. I hope you understood this. That's not really difficult. That's a kind of misconception when people think it's very difficult and you have to have a lot of mathematical knowledge in order for you to be able to write a software code. It's not true, because you don't have to have very deep mathematical knowledge. And of course, it's also not understandable why we see out of 10 programmers, 9 men and 1 woman, because I think this profession is also for women. And I would be very happy to see out of 10 people, 10 programmers, maybe 5 women, 5 men, so 50-50%, that would be great. So please don't be afraid, be brave and learn programming. It makes fun. You know, it's fantastic. So I can tell you it's a great job if somebody deals with programming. Thank you for your attention. Next time we are going to continue actually with the architecture of our backend. You will see how we'll build up and what the architecture will look like, and you will then understand how we will code exactly. Thank you and have a nice day. See you later.